Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm John Gray, and we're just plain living here, and it's summertime.
Good morning, John. Peggy Burton, all masked out.
We're all masked out. I'm going to unmask because
Yeah,
we're
me too, 'cause I
in
can't
a safe
breathe.
zone. But we do this just to let you know that it is very, very important that when you are out, and in some states and in some places you're required to wear a mask. I don't think Tennessee has gone to
Nashville
that point
has gone
yet.
to that.
Huh?
Nashville is requiring a mask,
Yeah.
to my knowledge.
You know, and they're saying, okay, if we want to try to keep you alive and we make you wear a seat belt and you don't wear one, you get a fine.
No, we're going there with masks.
If you want, we want to try to keep everybody alive, you need to wear a mask. Nobody likes it. Nobody likes putting a seatbelt on. It's amazing how many people. I wasn't a seatbelt person, but once you start wearing it,
You realize
then
that
it doesn't really
yeah.
make any difference anymore. People say, "Oh, that I can do in my truck what I want to." That's restricting my freedom. No, it's helping somebody survive a
You know,
wreck.
there are people that absolutely cannot wear a mask because they have oxygen
Sure. Oh, yeah,
difficulties
sure.
and they're have asthma and who knows what
But
else.
there's a whole lot of people who can be wearing one that
Right.
don't, and a lot of your businesses, a lot of the businesses, you can still go to Walmart in your pajamas or no pants at all, but you have to wear a mask. Okay, I want you to realize that.
I've got a mental picture going on.
But you have to wear a mask. Some people were very upset when they saw the mask, and the comment was, "That's okay, you can still wear your pajamas, but you got to wear a mask." A lot of
man,
businesses
yeah.
have done that. I noticed that Verizon was back open yesterday. I went out there, and the parking lot was just packed because for months they've not been open. You've had to
Right.
pay your bill online
Yeah.
or go to a tent there. And, you know, people have problems with their devices.
Tell me about it.
These are electronic devices,
We're
and
kind of loaded almost with too many devices.
well, but people, you could tell that
But
people
we're
have
used to them
been
now, and so we got to have them.
people have been waiting on the door to open out
Yeah.
there because this click doesn't work and that click doesn't. They were lined up out there to get in that place, but you have to wear a mask to go in Verizon.
Good. And
And
Walmart, I know
and-
Walmart has gone over to a mask.
And, you know, people are raising Cain about that. My friend Joe Keller downtown, we had a meeting downtown about the Downtown Association and the work that's being done down there and downtown city and all those Main Street projects and stuff. And Joe was talking to me about, he has that beautiful area that was the park, the little
Right.
city park
Yeah.
where Small World used to be.
Yeah.
On the alley, right across from London's, right across the alley from London's, and he said, "Well, I'm thinking about opening up here, but you know, I just don't know how to do it safely." And I said, "Joe, this is your business. You fund it. You borrowed the money to do it. You're the one who's paying all the bills. You get to make the decisions. And if you make a decision for me to come to your place, everybody walks in there and needs to have a mask on.
There you go.
And you get to make that decision. You say, "Oh, some people won't like it." Well, that's too bad.
Yeah.
There'll be plenty enough people
That will like it.
who
and
will will wear a mask just to get a London's burger. You know, but it's the owner's
responsibility.
no, it's his business to
Well,
take care
right.
of his employees and his customers the way he sees fit. And if you don't like it, you just don't get to go there.
Sure.
Really, it's that simple.
That's okay. Yeah, that works.
So, and a lot of people are going to be upset because they're going to run into places where people say you have to have a mask, and they're going to be upset about it. Well, I'm sorry. It's their choice. They get to do what they want to do until you go on the note with them
well,
and become a partner in funding their business. You really don't get a say.
we're getting into that at South Jackson Civic Center because we're trying to pay our bills.
Sure.
And so we are doing South Jackson Goes Country, but we're really doing it differently.
Yeah.
And we have to apologize because if you want tickets, you have to call now or leave a message because our seating is very much organized.
Yeah, it's
we're
different.
going to 50%, and So if you want a ticket, you need to call early.
Right.
But they'll take your reservation over the phone, and then they organize the seating to, suit the 6-foot deal.
But there's an
And,
event coming up.
Our event coming up, which is the ice cream social, everybody can distance themselves because we're all over the lawn.
Yeah, if you will distance yourself.
Well, that's your prerogative, but don't you think that?
Well,
that
I know there were some country stars had some concerts, and I know one. I think it was Billy Corrington or somebody. I don't know, but they rented a place for 12,000 people, an outdoor venue that would hold 12,000 people. Sold 4,000 tickets to where everybody had plenty of room. Well, guess where all 4,000 of them were when the band started playing? Right up on the stage, shoulder to shoulder, sweat to sweat, spit to spit.
Well, we're not doing that. We're
Yeah.
having to keep, because of their singers. If they're dancers, it's not a big deal. But if you're singers, you need to be 15 feet from your audience. So
right.
we're not using the front row, and then we're organizing from there back.
That's at the country show.
Yes.
I'm talking about the outside show. You have all of the grounds of South Jackson.
You have lots of room to distance.
So distance yourself. And there's
just have a
plenty of
good
room on the
time,
dance
yeah.
floor.
I love having something outdoors. I hope the weather is wonderful.
It will be.
Okay.
You'll call.
You said
we'll,
so, right?
We'll click the switch. Good weather. Click.
So, sometimes you have to go ahead with things. We're even doing what's on the stage differently
Sure.
now. We're not putting 5,000 people on stage at the same time. We have a certain number, and we're going to stick to that.
Speaking of stage, I ran into R.J. Hayes, the Energizer Bunny,
Oh my gosh.
at Builder's Supply Plumbing and Electrical Store, and he's creating, with help, a outdoor pavilion stage in the center. People don't realize, if you go right through South Jackson and go through up the stairs and into the auditorium, and you go straight through that building, which you can't do, there's a wing down each side, and then in the back behind the dressing rooms, there's this big outdoor area back there that has a building
theater.
Wing on each side.
That's going to be a fun place.
Yeah, it's going to be
And
turned
the
into
stage is up. The stage is, partially
close.
up. And the wiring is going on, so that'll...
It's outstanding.
But it is outstanding, and people can be out there and easily social distance.
And the grants stay going.
I hope so.
Thank you for the grants, all you grant givers out there.
And for those people that continue to sponsor,
Yeah.
We have some really nice businesses in this town that give a lot
Yep,
to
they
keep
do.
things going,
They
and
do.
we need to honor them every day of our lives, because I think the arts are so important. It's not just a matter of getting up there and singing a song or doing whatever you do, but it's a matter of keeping your mental portion of your brain
and
not so
that's true.
depressed or not so down. It's we need the arts for many reasons.
Yes, we do. Something else that's going on that I need to tell you about is our American Legion Auxiliary. We used to have a poppy sale, and we used to have a Christmas basket take up. We could be on the corners all around town. Well, the state stopped that. You can't collect money on a state highway. Then the city stopped us collecting money on the city area. So
they're
now
having something?
this is going to be the American Legion Auxiliary is going to have a rummage sale. That would be July the 24th and 25th. That's this weekend. Seeing as how
Okay.
this is the 21st.
And where is it going to take place?
It's going to take place at the old Legion Post parking lot. So that's on Washington Street. You go down Washington Street. If you don't know where the old Legion Post was, headed north
Yeah.
on Washington Street. It's on the right out there, right before you get to Kings Lane. And there's it was a Tenova office. I don't know what it is now.
Well,
But there's a great big
using
parking
it,
lot
yeah.
right there, and the auxiliary is going to have that. It's at 1818 North Washington Street, and it benefits the veterans. And so that'll be July 24th and 25th. So Diane called me about that, and Pat and all the good girls and boys at the
That's
American
really
Legion
important,
appreciate, and
yeah.
the veterans appreciate your help and coming out there and look through the stuff, find you something.
You take it home and put it with the rest
Take
of
it
your
home,
stuff.
put the rest of your stuff.
that you got in a box.
Like we don't
attic.
have
No,
enough
I'm just kidding.
stuff.
No, it's a wonderful thing, and I would encourage people to go, and maybe they still need some donations. Do you know?
Yeah, might do it. Might do it.
So what would they do? Call the American Legion?
Yes,
Or-
that'd be fine, or the auxiliary, and I don't know what those numbers are, and she didn't give me numbers, so I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, but people can figure that out.
Hey, you can show up with it. You can show
Yeah.
up with it down there the 24th and 25th and say, here, sell this.
Sell this. There you
So
go.
it's a good deal.
It is a good deal, and I think we should never, ever forget the contributions of our veterans.
No,
and
we
our
can't. We
Police
can't.
force and our firemen and our health workers and our garbage men. There's no end to the people we need to thank that keep moving regardless
Well,
of
it
what's
keeps
going
our
on.
it keeps our food moving. It keeps our country moving. I was surprised. Fran went to the grocery the other day, and I said, "Get some bacon." You know what a pound of bacon's worth?
No.
$9.
Wow. I'm going to get a hog.
Yeah, we need a bunch of hogs right now.
Have you ever been to a hog killing?
Yes, ma'am, I have. First cup of hot hog blood.
Oh my gosh. Did you drink it?
No, my dad
Oh.
and his brothers
Ouch.
did though. They'd take that hog and hang it up in a tree and have a big old barrel full of boiling water, and they dip that hog down in there to make the hair easier to scrape off of
Yeah.
it. When they bring him out, they'd cut the jugular to bleed him, hold a cup underneath it.
I know, and that goes way back in history.
I don't know why
the
they did
drinking
it,
of
but
blood, yeah.
this old boy right here wasn't going to do it.
I know.
I guarantee you. Well, it's like blood pudding and duck blood. You know, there's some stuff that is some kind of pudding that's made with real duck blood.
Why?
I don't. Well,
just don't
you know, I guess
why.
it.
It's
I guess it made a difference. I don't know. So
yeah, some people just will drink anything, I guess.
some people will drink anything. Here, I tell you what we're going to do. Share a little
Loku?
haiku, loku. The list is long. Time is short. Which discipline will capture my focus next? Like a werewolf at full moon, I gorge myself, yet remain unfulfilled.
Oh, good for you. You
Well,
gorge
you know,
yourself and
if
remain-
you're-
no, that is really good.
If you're a creative person, you go, okay, I'm going to write something. And you go, well, man, I need to know how to play this. Well, man, I'm going to draw that. Well, all of a sudden you go, well, which discipline do I want?
wanna
You know?
do? Yeah.
And you can't do it all, so you try, but like a werewolf at full moon, I gorge myself, yet remain unfulfilled. Because you just
sort of
can't get
reminded me
it, can't get enough done.
a little bit of Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah, words flow into the process, hooked around an idea, sprinkled with rhythm, with rhyme and alliteration, melody wrapped around life, a song.
Are you still writing?
Yeah.
You written
yeah,
anything
yeah,
new lately?
Yeah. Everything you do in life is about the sell. So every now and then you should look like you belong where you're trying to go. Dress right.
All righty then.
It was only a little white lie. There are hundreds of shades of white, ending up in the absence of white. It's hard to know where to draw the line when you're compromised.
Yeah.
Moms and dads broke, boys with flowers waiting for hours, some girls elated, others in tears, all glad when it's over. Beauty pageant.
Oh my gosh. You've never been in a beauty pageant.
I've never been in a
And I-
beauty pageant, but I have emceed the Miss
I know
Tullahoma
you have.
contest, and it's like an 8-hour root canal with no Novocaine.
No.
There you go.
And they
Because-
all, they all want to win, and they're
Sure.
all beautiful, and somebody leaves feeling awful, and somebody leaves feeling good.
Because of a slip on a skip, a move during one dance step too many, or a fall by a misplaced step, one thing I don't do old as well as I did young is bounce.
That's
So
the
with
truth.
those, this is my book of Loku. You can get them at Couches. They're rear-titled word puzzles that end up hopefully making you smile and maybe imparting a little knowledge. Never can tell, or nonsense. Knowledge, nonsense. They go pretty well together. Knowledge, nonsense. We'll be back after these messages.
Hello, I'm Ray Noes. This is a critical time in Tullahoma. On August the 6th, voters will have an opportunity to elect a new mayor, one who can provide proven, experienced leadership, one who knows how to get things done and keep Tullahoma moving. I recognize the value of Tullahoma's excellent school system. Our system is recognized as one of the best in the state, and I'll ensure that our schools continue at that level. I will not vote to raise property taxes in order to have a balanced budget until all other options have been exhausted. I'll work closely with our city staff to ensure that my fiscally conservative values are incorporated. I've served on all city boards involved in economic development. I see that as a way that we can broaden our tax base and avoid a property tax rate increase. Some developers have had issues with our planning and codes department. I'll commit to these improvements. There'll be consistency in the instructions from planning and codes without changes from day to day. And there'll be predictable timelines for providing delivery dates for plan reviews, permits, and inspections. Timelines that will be met reliably. Now, while we can't do much about the traffic on 41A and 55, we can improve our local streets and sidewalks. And this I commit to do. So I ask for your vote for proven, experienced leadership.
You made the time and the sacrifice to broaden their horizons, to see their smiles, but mostly to make lifelong memories. We think it's time to do it again, just the two of you. Don't let illness or injury slow you down. The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live well.
It's time for every family and business in Tullahoma to go green and recycle. Tullahoma Public Works makes it simple and easy to recycle. Just place your recyclable materials, paper, plastic, aluminum, and cardboard beside your garbage container on the same day your garbage is picked up. Your recycled materials don't have to be in a fancy container. Recycling is not only the right thing to do, it makes sense. Recycling pays. Paying to bury our garbage costs each of us. Please do your part. Let's go green, Tullahoma, and recycle.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, folks, we're back, and I have a lovely young lady here with me, and I just found out she's from Coalmont, Miss Susan Johnson, and she's with Isaiah 117. So, just how close is Coalmont?
It takes me about 45 minutes to get here, so not too bad.
And you were born and raised in that town, or you just moved there, or?
I was actually born and raised in Tracy City, which is about 6 miles from there, so not too far.
Tracy City.
Still Grundy County.
Still Grundy County.
Yes.
And tell us what Isaiah House is and how you got involved with Isaiah House.
So Isaiah 117 House provides care for children who are awaiting foster placement. The way the current system works is when a child is removed by the Department of Children's Services, they're taken to an office or a conference room, and they may be there for hours to days. So that's a child literally sleeping in an office or a cubicle area. However, in Grundy County, when I first heard about the Isaiah House, I learned that we do not have a Department of Children's Service office. Sometimes our children are taken to the county jail. It's hard for me to think about that. Now, they do not sleep there. You know, if it's going to be that a long time, then they'll take them to DCS office. But they're trying to place them as quickly as they can. So DCS is doing everything they can do. So in March of last year, I got to hear Rhonda Paulson speak, and she's the founder and the executive director. And I heard her in Nashville talking about what happens when a child's removed. I'd worked in a school with children for like over 17 years, and I'm ashamed to tell you I didn't know where children went. So the whole time she kept telling that, I was thinking, our children this doesn't happen in Grundy County. Because I knew that we had one foster family. So typically it was extended family members that take the children. And so I guess in my mind it was, okay, your uncle, so here you go. I didn't stop to think about what that looked like and the paperwork that had to be done by DCS to make sure you're an okay placement.
And who the uncle really was.
That's right. They've got to check those things out. So that can be even hours. And so as soon as I got back from Nashville, I started asking those questions. And of course, DCS told me, they said, well, I had a child till 11 o'clock last night in the office. And so then I went around asking everybody for help. Hey, let's get an Isaiah 117 house. And so that's kind of how it came to be. But when we get our Isaiah 117 house, that's going to look so different on removal day. That caseworker will get to take that child to a home, an actual home, where they're going to be met by volunteers ready to love on those kids and meet their needs. DCS will stay with those kids. There's still the supervision, but that volunteer will be an extra set of hands. A lot of times these children come and they're scared, they're tired, they're hungry, they're dirty. And so that volunteer is going to be there. If they need a bath and clean clothes, they're going to get it. If they need to go to bed, there'll be a boys' room and a girls' room. If they just want to go outside and play, that's what they're going to get to do on that day. They're going to get to be a child on probably their most adult day.
Well, and a lot of times these children are separated from their brothers and sisters. If there's siblings involved, they might be in two completely different places.
That's true.
And will this allow siblings to possibly stay together in a situation like that?
What we're hoping is the house is designed for 24 hours or less, so it's not a placement, but we're hoping that will give that caseworker time to focus on that placement of that child.
Right.
Because the current way it is, those caseworkers are trying to meet the needs of those kids, they're trying to supervise those children, and they're also trying to find placement in an office. I've worked with children. To me, that's impossible.
Right.
And also those children hear every call that caseworker makes. So when they get those rejections, that child hears those. And at the Isaiah House, that won't have to happen. There'll be an office they can work from. There'll be cameras, so they still have their eyes on the child and the volunteer. But that's going to be another way to shield that child from knowing how many people can't take them. And so by that, I'm hoping that's going to give that caseworker that time just to focus on placing that child and find the best placement, and hopefully keep some of our kids out of detention centers that have done nothing wrong.
Right. Or in a detention, or in a prison, or in a jail, or in some cold government gray. They always use some kind of a steel-looking gray to paint the walls in those buildings.
Yes.
Nondescript, and these kids don't need nondescript. They need something to be able to focus on that brings a little bit of joy into their life.
And that's what the Isaiah House, when you walk in those, they're open in Carter County and Washington and Greene, and when you walk in those homes, it has this warm, just inviting feeling. You just feel safe. You just feel that way when you walk in the doors. Okay. It's hard to explain.
I want you to tell me where you are in your process.
Okay, so we kicked off a year ago in August, so it's almost a year. We have been going and talking to anybody and everybody we can talk to, churches, we've been fundraising. So now we're getting ready for our contractors dinner at the end of this month. It's going to be July 29th at Oaklawn Baptist Church in Winchester. So we are serving Coffee, Franklin, and Grundy. So we've been kind of moving things around. We had a fundraiser dinner here in February in Tullahoma. So now we're going to go to Winchester for the contractors dinner. We're providing dinner for the contractors and builder supplies. But we need people that are interested in helping us build this house for this service to come out to this dinner.
Very good. And how can someone get in touch with you? Like if someone sees this and they go, man, I need to be involved with this. I won't cut those people a check. How do they get to you?
So the great way is our Facebook. That's the best way. It's Isaiah 117 House, Coffee, Franklin, and Grundy. My phone number's on there. My email's on there. My email is actually Susan at Isaiah 117 House. But that's the best way to reach us. You can also go to Isaiah117house.com, click on Coffee, Franklin, and Grundy if you don't have Facebook, and you can find us that way. But we just need, for this dinner, anybody that can provide any service or skill to help build this house. That's what we need, because we're ready to move forward. We have over 200 and something children in the foster care system. So this house is important that we get this going.
Now that's in those 3 counties?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing how you think in Coffee County, and of course we live in Tullahoma, and Tullahoma is a relatively affluent town, a relatively well, it's more than relatively, it's a very well-educated town because of Arnold Center and UTSI, and so is Manchester and Winchester and this area around here that people come here to work at those places. You don't think about this.
No.
And if you do, you don't want to believe it. And of course, the marketing arm of this whole area doesn't want to present it because it's not a good marketing thing to say, well, we're the highest in the state, or second highest, or third, or any kind of highest. Here's all the numbers of kids we have nowhere to go. That's not a good marketing point. So we need to wake up and be understanding about what the facts really are.
And I think too, we get this a lot. Some people will say, well, what about the state? Maybe the state should do more. The way we feel at the Isaiah House, it's not the state's job. These are all God's children, and that's part of our ministry. We feel like it's our time to step up and to help DCS, and that's what the house is designed to do, to reduce that trauma for that child, walk along DCS and help them, and also ease that foster family transition. So when they leave the house, that foster family is going to leave with the supplies they need. Because right now your call might be at 10 o'clock and it might be at midnight. Okay, I've got a sibling group of 3, they all have head lice and they have nothing. Can you come get them? That's kind of hard to say yes to. But if they've been at the Isaiah House, that call's going to be different. It's going to be, I have a sibling group of 3, they all had head lice, they've had treatments, they have their school supplies, they have their school clothes, they're ready to go. That's a lot different. So if they need a bed, guess what? We're putting it in their car.
To eat.
Yes, we're going to feed them, take care of them, and love on them while they're there. Because the way it looks right now is that child's in that office. Typically, they have a black trash bag or a Walmart sack or nothing. It looks like they've done something wrong. When they've done nothing, they're innocent in this. And that's what we want to change. We want them to know they've not done anything wrong, and we want somebody to be loving on them the whole time. I think that's an important message for them.
And that office is a place, and I've had some of those folks on the show, as I've had you before. If you're someone out there who has something, a dollhouse, a foosball game, something that these kids in these office situations, when they're there or when they're at your place, once you have your place, you're going to need recreational things for these kids to take their mind off some of this stuff. If you have old toys, and I'm thinking out of the box, I've not asked them, if they want this, but I would think I had one of the people say, well, the girls have a dollhouse in the floor that they can go get in the floor during talking to you over here for 10 minutes, and then it might be an hour and a half before they get to talk to somebody else. They're just sitting there. Well, they can play with the dollhouse. The little boys don't really have anything, so I've been looking for an old pinball machine or pool table, and then I figured out, well, the easiest thing to do would be a foosball table. So if you have anything like that, before you throw it in a dumpster or sell it for next to nothing, think about what you can do if you donate it to something like this and give that child a moment's worth of laughter while they're in a bad situation.
And that's the great thing at the house. If they get attached to a toy, it's going to be theirs.
Yeah.
They get to take that with them. And we also have a donation box here in Tullahoma.
Good.
At the Citizens Tri-County Bank. They've been very supportive. And so this month we were saying diapers, next month's going to be school supplies, but if somebody has something else, by all means, stick it in there, yes.
Anything.
Clothes and things, according to the state, they do want us to have new on that, but anything you want to put in there, go for it. We would love it. We'll take it.
So thank you for taking the step, evidently, that you had to search your soul for to take and make a decision to stop doing whatever it was you were doing and go forward in this ministry of Isaiah 117. Appreciate you for what you're doing.
Thank you. I feel like it's truly a blessing. It's not, I don't know, it's just something you just are happy doing.
There you go.
Yeah. It's not work.
Here.
Thank you so much.
Let us know any way we can help you, okay?
Thank you.
We'll be right back after these messages.
My great-grandfather started it in 1900, and now it's 2020, which is 120 years. We still measure your feet, still try to help you find a good fit. We're just a good old-fashioned shoe store where we'll measure your feet, make sure you're in the right size, and help you find a comfortable shoe for men, women, and children.
We're gonna fit your style. We're gonna make you smile. Service and quality at Clayton Shoe Store. We're gonna fit your style.
Ah, the glory days. Running to daylight on the gridiron and chasing a ball with a mind of its own. Cheering the team to victory and marching to the beat of your own drum. Memories that last a lifetime. But sometimes we're reminded of our glory days in ways we'd rather forget. Get back in the game.
The rehab team at Life Care Center of Tullahoma is ready to help you live and play well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
History about this and that. It's conversations with John and Pat, with John and Pat, with John and Pat.
Hello everyone, I'm John Rickman.
And I'm Pat Welch, and John, this is the 18th segment of the conversation
You're
with
keeping
John and
count.
Pat.
That's
I'm
good.
keeping good count. And we probably owe John Gray introduced, we had a repeat of the first segment last week, and he was so glowing.
Stunning job.
Yeah. I've been kind of walking on air ever since. It's probably highly undeserved, but it was awful kind
You'd
of
almost think we was somebody.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, anyway, we're going to do our feeble attempt.
We're going to come back to reality right here.
Yeah, right here. And we're going to do a little song. And my brother and I learned to play music with a 5-minute guitar lesson book, and I haven't gone very far past that. We sent off from some far off state some albums. They were from Star Day Records, and this little song was on there. Oh, I wanna go south where the Southern hospitality, that's the place for me. Back in Tennessee, that's where I long to be. Take away this cotton picking, give me some of that home fried chicken. Georgia, Mississippi, or Carolina, just as long as way down south is where I am. I wanna go south where all the folks are good to me, the big towns. They ain't so fine, done been away too long. Take me back where I belong, below the Mason-Dixon line. Said I wanna go south where the Southern hospitality, that's the place for me. City slickers call us Hicks, but we love it in the sticks. Cornbread and turnip greens smoking, that's eating, I ain't joking. Georgia, Mississippi, or Carolina, just as long as way down south is where I am. I wanna go south where all the folks good to me, the big towns ain't so fine, done been away too long. Take me back where I belong, below the Mason-Dixon line. I ain't a joking, below the Mason-Dixon line.
Wow.
We get
John, if you learn that from a 5-minute lesson, that's one fine instructor there.
Well, I've got about 10 minutes advance now.
I got you.
Not very far.
I got you.
My guitar playing is just there to accompany my singing for the most part.
Or we could say it was not just a fine instructor, but an exceptional student.
My brother was the best musician out of the family. We're going to talk politics today.
All right.
And you're going to talk about some politics in Tullahoma.
Yeah. Don't anybody get too concerned, though. We're not going to talk about the national presidential race.
No, nothing like that.
No.
But I wrote this one time, and no need of me trying to bring it up here when it's down in writing, so I thought I would talk about my uncle who ran for office in Chapel Hill. As election time draws near, I'm reminded of the story about my great uncle who ran for office in Chapel Hill, Tennessee. He became interested in serving on the town council and therefore threw his hat in the ring. Now, my uncle wasn't a bad fella, but he wasn't perfect either. He had made a fair living at trading. He dealt in livestock or anything else he could make a dollar in selling. In the process of making this money, he had skinned nearly everyone within driving distance. The folks around Chapel Hill accepted him for what he was, although, and they had become cautious about doing business with him, though. He politicked pretty well, pretty heavy before election, and even treated the community to a corn roast. This was a way, perhaps, of paying back the town for a long series of bad deals. Election day came, and my uncle received only 2 votes. He and his wife had gone to the polls, but folks weren't absolutely sure how she voted. Anyway, he was soundly defeated. The day after election, he showed up in Chapel Hill wearing a gun on his hip. You can just imagine how the folks in town were talking about the election results and why my uncle was wearing a gun. Had he gone mad? Finally, someone got up the nerve to ask him why the gun. His response, I'm sure this has been shared by other unsuccessful politicians after election day. A man that has no more friends than I do needs some protection.
Now, John, did you write, is that a letter to the editor?
Well, yeah, years. I think I did it in '87, which is a long, long time ago, but I still had it on file, so I thought I'd bring that out.
Well, that's a great one.
You know, you and I have no new ideas.
That's true. There's not a whole lot of originality to us, John. But that is a great segment, and we can tie that into segment 17, in which we talked about Mr. Ratcliffe. And for those that didn't have the pleasure of viewing that, we remind you that Mr. Ratcliffe and his brother, James, I believe, moved to Tullahoma from Selma in the early 1930s. To the parents felt like they would get a better education here, and Robert married the oldest Harton girl of John W. Harton, and was a great citizen of Tullahoma for his whole life. And I've ended up, we've mentioned playing golf with him several times. When I first moved to Tullahoma in the late 1970s and the early 1980s, when I first got to know him, and revered him pretty well. And it would have been local municipal elections in either 80 or 81, I believe. I was wondering who we needed to vote for, and I can't remember what the real issues were at the time, but there was one group running for alderman that looked like to me wasn't very interested in the town growing or having financial prosperity or bringing new businesses in, that type of thing. And there was a group that was. And of course, the Hartons had quite a bit of a tax liability that sometimes growth could add to, and Robert, we said, was pretty adverse to spending his own money, but he was really pro Tullahoma, and the fact is that he wanted to help it grow.
People might say, a musician might say, he was tight as a banjo string.
Personally. But he didn't mind spending a little bit to help Tullahoma. He wasn't much on buying new socks and things like that for himself, I can tell you that. But so we've got 2 groups of people running, and an election that there's a lot of interest in. And so I asked him on the golf course, I said, Mr. Ratcliffe, who you going to vote for? And he said, well, I hadn't had time, and there was a citizen of town that lived close to the golf course that he was not on the pro-growth side, and we'll just say his name was George, and that wasn't his name. And Robert, or Mr. Ratcliffe said, well, I haven't been by George's yard yet to see his signs. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, I just checked who he's going to vote for and support with those signs in his front yard, and then I just vote for the other ones, and then I know we've voted for progress. And we're now Man, we've told a good story on Uncle Robert. We're getting a sign that it just about is ended. The 18th segment.
Well,
John.
we've sure enjoyed today.
We've had
and
a great time.
We've winding up a thing or two. You know, we had a segment not too long talking about musicians, and one of our songwriter buddies, John Gray, great songwriter. Ray Price did one of his songs not too long ago. And you know, we forgot to mention the Hamilton family that particular day, because they're doing great things even in Nashville in studio work and so forth.
And all they first got started, I think, in gospel music, but they've really branched out. There's some of them that are involved in jazz now. There's really a really talented family.
Right. Well, anyway, that's it today.
That should do it. And as Mr. Couch said, that's not the end of the conversation, John. There's more to come.
Talking history about this and that. It's Conversations with John and Pat. With John and Pat. With John and Pat.
Tullahoma needs leadership. Tullahoma needs someone who can make good decisions in bad times. Tullahoma needs someone who is familiar with the area and knows how to bring people together. Tullahoma needs someone who's not tied to any specialty group, who doesn't owe someone a favor, that's going to make decisions for the entire city as a whole. We want to make sure that we stay focused on health. We want to make sure we stay focused on wealth. And we don't stay focused on education. Those are the three things that if we as a city invest in our people, we will see the return, and our city will continue to grow, and our city will continue to prosper. So that's why I'm running for mayor, and I'm ready to begin working for you day one. And I'm asking for your vote.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Since the moment you were born, I've made 1,000 wishes. Wishes for your future in a world that's changing fast. Do play and laugh. Do win and lose. Do it all with confidence, kindness, and strength. And always do your best to remember that no matter what you do in this life, what matters to me is that you keep doing.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
Beckett from Fayetteville, Tennessee, and he plays with the South Jackson Street Band and takes care of all of our technical stuff, which is wonderful. Thank you, Ron.
Enjoy it.
Alan Johnson, he's the director of the South Jackson Street Band and a fabulous trombone player, but we weren't sure we had room up here for him and his trombone. So, what do you think? Tell us about the South Jackson Band that makes you interested in being the director. What are some of the facets of it that please you?
Well, we've got a pretty eclectic group of players, and I think the main focus or the main thing that draws us all together is just the love of big band music. And we're ageless. We've got players that are, I mean, we have players sometimes that are in high school that come in and sit in with us, all up to our more experienced
Exactly.
Nice way to put it, yes.
Yeah, we do have all ages, and we encourage people that if you happen to be interested in the big band music, contact one of us, and we'll sometimes need a sub, and we'll take a look
Oh, certainly.
at you.
We like to have a good, strong list of subs because you never know what's going to happen when we need to reach out and reach for another
Like,
trombone
for instance,
player.
you cut your finger off one day, and
Yeah, as a
So
matter
you
of
were
fact,
a
I was made a very bad cut on a table saw and lost the tip of my finger. Fortunately, a good friend of mine, Drew Tucker, was able to sit in for me for about 6 months while I recovered, and fortunately the damage was not so severe that it prevents me from playing the guitar. I was able to pick it up again.
I wanted to thank the Tullahoma High School Band Department for allowing us to rehearse there on every other Thursday night. That is really important for us to have a place to practice that has chairs already and music stands. That's wonderful. So thank you, THS. And we have an event coming up that we need to talk about, and that's July 30th, a week from Thursday.
Yep.
And I'm supposed to tell you that you bring your own chairs or a blanket. You can bring your own drinks. You can bring food and join us on the lawn at South Jackson. We're on the concrete stage there, the platform out in front of the building. And at 6:30 we have a dance class starring Miss Valerie Lawrence, who is a wonderful dance instructor. You can come and listen. You can come and dance. Just come and have a good time. Social distance yourself. Tickets $10. You can't beat the deal. Children $5, I think. So.
And don't forget about the ice cream.
Oh, there's ice cream for everybody. It's an ice cream social. I forget that. We used to do
Ice cream,
homemade
big
ice
bands,
cream.
and dance.
Yeah.
Well, what more can you ask for?
Yeah.
That's
Tell us how many people are in the band, basically.
We've got a core group of 22 to 23, depending on how many singers we have with us at the time. We've got a complete rhythm section, piano, bass, drums, guitar, 5 saxophones, 4 trombones, 4 trumpets, and 2 to 3 excellent vocalists.
You're sweet to say that. We appreciate, as a vocalist, I appreciate these people behind me. You know, that's wonderful that they allow me at my age to continue to sing. Thank you.
Well, you're our matriarch. You are going to be part of the band until you don't want to be part of the band.
Until time itself runs out.
Yep.
Anyway, we do encourage you to come Thursday night. Ron has sent some pictures. We're going to show those now, and I think we can talk over the pictures.
Sure, certainly.
Okay? So are they ready back there? Here we go.
There we go. Yeah, this is, again, shows dancers out in front of the band. You see us in the background with the facade, the South Jackson.
And by the way, South Jackson Civic Center is in Tullahoma, Tennessee, in case you're from another state watching this.
And again, you see some children there in the front, enjoying their ice cream. You got the dancers in the background, and again, the band in the back.
I believe that this is part of the dance class, because I think that's Valerie over here on the left, and
Philip there in the shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she is a wonderful instructor, and she's very patient. I've been in her classes. Some of our members that are local would be Scott Young right there with the beard that he continues to grow, right? And I saw Charlie Hickerson back there on bass, and of course Alan Johnson, our leader, who plays trombone. Who else am I missing from Tullahoma? Our people come from all over.
You've got Jeff Hamacher, who's a Tullahoman.
Jeff Hamacher's Winchester, isn't he? I think he's Winchester.
Is he?
Wow.
Anyway, we have Winchester, we have Fayetteville, we have Nashville, we have
Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro. They come from all over and meet with us, and we hope that you will come and support South Jackson and support the South Jackson Street Band. And so in the meantime, you're also supporting the arts. That's Miss Judith Roney from McMinnville, playing the piano there, disguised in her hat.
There's our illustrious band leader.
There's our excellent trombone section.
Jim Sabia from Woodbury, and of course Alan, and then past him I think I see Tyler's nose. And,
Yeah, Tyler McElroy. I think
and here
he's.
we are with the saxophone section. Jim Fitzgerald, I forgot him, he's from Tullahoma, and he's playing first tenor. And next to, who is that next to him?
That was Will Carter. He's
Oh,
one
that's
of.
Will.
He was one of our high
Will's from
school
Tullahoma,
students.
and he's off to college. Wonderful player.
There you see a little bit of the lawn, lots of space to
Lots
spread
of
out and enjoy
space.
yourself as far as social
It's a beautiful
distancing.
area. We're really proud of
lots of room.
We're really proud of what's going on at South Jackson right now, and it's so important for us to keep the arts alive and well and continue to have events. And so that's what this is about. So, plus we love to play the music and probably would play if one person showed up. So.
Yeah. Well, we've kind of done that on a couple of gigs in the past, so it's. But the music goes on.
I guess we can turn the pictures off. I think that, there we go. Thank you. Good job. We do several events around the area, and we've been not playing anything at all since March until this last month. We started rehearsing again, and we had at least 3 events canceled due to the pandemic, and we're hoping that this one will go well. Alan.
It was kind of an interesting thing with the whole pandemic and not being able to get together. And my son-in-law is a singer-songwriter that lives in Greensboro, and they've had 2 or 3 close friends that actually committed suicide that were in the music industry because they
couldn't do their music.
got to the point where they just didn't know where they were going to go.
I have always said people that are real musicians don't breathe if they don't play.
Yeah.
It's just part of their life, and it's very important. And I am here to hope we can always keep it going. So, Ron, you want to take us out with some great tune?
Sure. Let's see. We started with an old Bart Howard tune.
Fly Me to the Moon?
Well, that was the second title. The original title was In Other Words.
Are you
But his publisher said, that's not going to fly. Try taking that first line, that Fly Me to the Moon, that'll make a great title, and it did.
And it did. That's very interesting.
And I think we'll finish up with a little George Gershwin, A Foggy Day in London Town.
Do you know, I cried when I heard that he died so young. I love his music.
Mm-hmm.
Manchester Funeral Home, we know the importance of living and working in our local community because it's those families who we serve during their time of need honorably. We believe in supporting local business and offer only 100% Batesville caskets, the best in the industry and a driver of our local economy. If you want straightforward and fair pricing while working with the people you know, choose Manchester Funeral Home, serving your community since 1932. And pre-planning and pre-funding can be the best gift you ever leave your loved ones. Call us to pre-arrange. Manchester Funeral Home. Our family, caring for your family since 1932.
If you want to be a parent, it doesn't matter how you play, what you wear, how you dance, or even what direction life takes you. You just need to be there. You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care don't need perfection. They just need you.
How long has it been since you raced a cheetah? Are your tornado creating skills getting rusty? Tired of being the only one in your neighborhood who hasn't built a dinosaur? Sounds like it's time to visit the Hands-On Science Center. The Hands-On Science Center is an indoor science playground. In this museum, please touch is the rule. Join us for weekly science demonstrations on space, lasers, lizards, rocks, and a whole lot more. No two visits are ever the same, so visit often to see our ever-changing exhibits and demonstrations. The Hands-On Science Center, 101 Mitchell Boulevard in Tullahoma.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
People in TV land, thank you, John, and thank you, camera lady and camera gentleman, for putting a good, clear, contrasty, colorful picture on the screen. We're glad you could be with us today, and we hope that you've had a nice past weekend, Memorial Day, that meant so much to so many people. And you know, the thought just occurred to me in driving around Tullahoma that there's some material that has been used for so many years to build these fine old residences, and there's not a lot of old residences or buildings left in Tullahoma. Many of them have been either razed or destroyed by fire, and they're just not there like they used to be. But those that are there are stately, and I remember growing up how people would, almost all the homes in Tullahoma had wood shingle roofs for many years, and not many of those left in Tullahoma. There are 2 or 3 homes that have the slate roofs. That's real heavy and they last forever. I think the one of the residences that have slate roofs on them is the Lewis apartment building on South Anderson Street, and maybe the old Graham home there on the corner, I think at one time had a slate roof, and the Hollyberry Inn that was originally the home of Mr. G.D. Hicks had a slate roof on it. But why do you mention building materials and things of that nature? Because it's been a great part of our heritage in Tullahoma through the years. And I don't remember there ever being any caves or cavemen or mountain men that lived here, but the pioneers and the Indians lived in this area for a long time because they had water from Big Spring and land that they could grow food on and that sort of thing, even tobacco that they liked to grow and sell and use. And as time progressed, The first residence that we know of that was built in Tullahoma was a log cabin, and that log cabin was discovered a few years ago as the Gano Bustle homestead on South Atlantic Street. And Tommy Allen and his volunteers took that cabin apart and put it back together on the grounds of the South Jackson Civic Center, right next to the Civic Center there on South Jackson Street. That was, to our knowledge, was the first residence built here in Tullahoma. And later, as homes were built with lap siding, wood frames, everything was wood about them from top to bottom, and they didn't have concrete blocks at that time for footings. I think some of the early foundations were of just concrete. And speaking of concrete, there wasn't any ready mixed plants, concrete plants at all. They had a great big wooden tub that they put sand and cement and gravel all together and poured water on it. And then they had a what looked like a hole with big holes in the blade of that hole that they mixed that concrete with, and built the foundations with it. And later they did use concrete for footings. Besides being level with the ground, they'd with wooden forms they would build them up, and then of course later concrete blocks that are used to this day to make the foundations and footings for every kind of building then. And then as time went on, there was the rock, crab orchard rock and crab orchard stone for buildings. And then back in the late 20s and 30s, stucco was the material used for building. Stucco, and Mr. T.C. May was a master stucco builder. And as time went on rapidly, the sidings were brick and permastone, and the current material that's being used so much now is the vinyl siding, aluminum siding and vinyl plastic siding, and it's being used quite a bit today. You can see a lot of those on North Washington Street. And that brings us to the final thought for today is about the Tullahoma bricks that were made around the turn of the century. And we've spoken about that before, but that was an important part of building material in this area. Sure do thank you for watching, and this is not the end of the story because there's a whole lot more to come, and we'll see you next week. Have a good day.
I'm Ray Noes. This is a critical time in Tullahoma. On August the 6th, voters will have an opportunity to elect a new mayor, one who can provide proven, experienced leadership, one who knows how to get things done and keep Tullahoma moving. I recognize the value of Tullahoma's excellent school system. Our system is recognized as one of the best in the state, and I'll ensure that our schools continue at that level. I will not vote to raise property taxes in order to have a balanced budget until all other options have been exhausted. I'll work closely with our city staff to ensure that my fiscally conservative values are incorporated. I've served on all city boards involved in economic development. I see that as a way that we can broaden our tax base and avoid a property tax rate increase. Some developers have had issues with our planning and codes department. I'll commit to these improvements. There'll be consistency in the instructions from planning and codes without changes from day to day. And there'll be predictable timelines for providing delivery dates for plan reviews, permits, and inspections. Timelines that will be met reliably. Now, while we can't do much about the traffic on 41A and 55, we can improve our local streets and sidewalks. And this I commit to do. So I ask for your vote for proven, experienced leadership.
My wife Jackie has always been the life of the party, but things changed when she couldn't be as active anymore.
They told me I needed a double knee replacement.
It's not as big a deal as it used to be, but she still needed to go to rehab.
I was amazed at how good the therapists were at Life Care. They took really good care of me.
They took excellent care of her, and now she's back doing the things she loves, and that makes everyone happy.
Life Care Center of Tullahoma wants you to get active and live well.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're back, and a couple of years ago, the South Jackson Civic Center had a group here during one of our Gatsby galas called the Jake Leg Stompers. And these are a bunch of incredible musicians, and they play a lot around Nashville and Murfreesboro. So I went to Murfreesboro one night. Fran and I went up there to film them, to have some film to show of what they were going to do at South Jackson Civic Center. Right now I'm going to bring you the Jake Leg Stompers.
You guys might know this song because Bonnie Raitt recorded it with the original singer, which is Sippy Wallace. It's on her greatest hits record. What was great about Bonnie is that she really champions a lot of the original singers, and back in the 70s would bring them out of retirement and help their careers out. So that's how I learned this song. It's from Bonnie Raitt, but it's an old Sippy Wallace tune.
Explaining what that good man really can do. Cause these women nowadays, they ain't no good. They laugh in your face, they scare them away from you. I said, you gotta be wise, keep that mouth shut. Don't advertise your man, don't be a fool. Don't advertise that man. Listen, lady, your best girlfriend, you might think she's a highbrow. I seen her change clothes at least 3 times a day. What's she doing? So what do you think she's doing now? Oh, why you so far away? She's loving that man in your own damn bed. Better call a doctor, mama. Try to investigate your head. You gotta be wise. then take them away from you. I said, you gotta be wise. Keep your mouth shut. Don't advertise that man. Don't be a fool. Don't advertise your man. Don't be a fool. Don't advertise your man. No. Women, don't do it. Faithful, they're here every time they get a chance. They come all the time, and we love you guys. We love everybody that come all the time. But I told them I was going to do this for them, and I have to dedicate it to my husband too. He's my chauffeur. He has to drive me.
Think y'all
Mr.
recognize
Bill.
Keep your mouth shut about your man now.
Uh-oh. You got me.
Somebody been paying attention now. Somebody been listening. Somebody been taking notes.
Just can't hold it in. I had to tell you.
Every woman in here is hunting the chauffeur.
My love has come along. My lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Yeah, yeah. At last, skies above are blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover. Night that I looked at you, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that I never known. Whoa, yeah, yeah, you smile, my love. Whoa, and then the spell was cast. Yes, it was. And here we are in heaven. For you are at last. Play a little while, fellas, so these beautiful people can dance. I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I can call my own. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that I never ever known. Oh yeah, yeah, you smile, my love. Whoa,
needs leadership. Tullahoma needs someone who can make good decisions in bad times. Tullahoma needs someone who is familiar with the area and knows how to bring people together. Tullahoma needs someone who's not tied to any specialty group, who doesn't owe someone a favor, that's going to make decisions for the entire city as a whole. We want to make sure that we stay focused on health. We want to make sure we stay focused on wealth. And we don't stay focused on education. Those are the three things that if we as a city invest in our people, we will see the return, and our city will continue to grow, and our city will continue to prosper. So that's why I'm running for mayor, and I'm ready to begin working for you day one. And I'm asking for your vote.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Since the moment you were born, I've made 1,000 wishes. Wishes for your future in a world that's changing fast. Do play and laugh. Do win and lose. Do it all with confidence, kindness, and strength. And always do your best to remember that no matter what you do in this life, what matters to me is that you keep doing.
Get your news first, fast, and free with your news leader on 6 every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday nights at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. Local weather, sports, community calendar events, and a comprehensive look at the latest news stories and news makers as only a video news broadcast can do. Get it first, fast, and free with News Leader on Channel 6, your local information network.
All right, folks, we're back and have had a good day.
I wanted to mention something before I go today, that South Jackson Street Band has a website.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything you want to know about us, you can listen to our music and you can see what's coming up. And it's sjsband.org. Simple. sjsband.org.
Good
Tune
for
in
you.
to us.
Are you Twittering yet?
Twittering gets on my nerves. I read some Twittering, but I'm not much of a Twitterer.
I can't help but think of the word twit.
I know it, me too.
You know, and so you twit. Well, if you're a Twitterer,
you got to be twitting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But yeah, there's a lot going on, and you know, and we're still waiting to find out about football. I text John Olive this week, and he said there still hadn't been a decision made on exactly how that was going to happen. But you know, they're close. They need to be making some kind of decision. Of course, I know the kids are practicing and doing what they can, but the rest of the world of us who need to make a plan down for next month.
Exactly.
As far as advertising and travel arrangements and stuff, we need to know.
I kind of feel like they ought to play.
I think they're going to play. We just don't know what.
Yeah, I think they need to play.
Well, the pros are starting to play. Everybody's playing.
You can play golf.
Yeah.
I watched a big golf match this weekend, and you know they can stay socially distanced easily on the golf course, I think.
That I was talking to Fran about golf, and she said, "Yeah, I like to watch golf when I want to go to sleep."
Oh.
Now that's baseball for me. You know, a lot of people, baseball puts me to sleep.
I used to love baseball, but I think it was more about who was playing. You know, I had some people.
Well,
play
you know,
baseball
now they have so many great pitchers.
Oh yeah.
That you can watch a baseball game and it's just really not very interesting unless you like pitching.
And I think the Atlanta Braves are going to keep their name. I don't think they're going to change their name.
What's the matter with a Brave?
Well, you know, a lot of people are changing because it might be African American, or it might be
American Indian,
American Indian, and on and on. But I read that the Atlanta Braves, they did that as a tribute to the Native Americans, and they love their name, and I hope they keep it. I'm all for that.
I do too. You know, we've I don't know, just like I said last week, I talked to a woman, I was listening to a woman who's an international art person, and she said, you know, we're talking about tearing this down and destroying that, and she said, it's what we've done throughout history. People create art, and a couple hundred years later, they tear it down and put some new up.
Put something else up.
It's just art, you know.
I hate to see destruction of any kind.
Yeah, well, yeah, me too.
I think if, you know, it can be merited, or maybe there's places where a statue should be moved somewhere else.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not in the right place. Maybe it doesn't belong in the Capitol. Maybe it would be nice in a museum.
Yeah.
But don't destroy it. So I
yeah,
somehow have a problem
I
with
mean,
that.
I was looking at Stone Mountain. I've been to Stone Mountain. A lot of people might not.
I've been there.
And
I love it.
the massive undertaking that was. And you think Rushmore's big.
Oh my.
Rushmore's not. Rushmore's is a caricature compared to Stone Mountain as far as the size.
To think of the hours and
my Lord,
and the
and the time
dedication to get that put together.
And you know, that just that makes no difference about the subject matter.
Exactly.
It's a human effort, a human
Have you been to Rushmore?
venture. Yes.
It's beautiful.
It's smaller than you think it would be.
It is smaller than you think, but when I saw it for the first time, I really saw it, not in a picture. I stood before it because there was music, beautiful classical music was playing, and I'm looking at that tremendous work of art. I just stood there and cried. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's an amazing.
It's an amazing piece.
You watch history and art and music all come together.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So, all right, we're going to end. We're going to end with a couple of things here. Loku number 6. A mole leaves his tunnel on a cold winter's night. The carpet of green, all covered with white. The color white is slick and cold. The struggle to get back into his hole leaves the yard stenciled with tiny snow angels.
Oh. Tiny snow angels. Is that his feet tracks or?
Yeah, we're.
Yeah. Okay.
The sun's sickles fall upon the night and break into the light of dawn. Another page in life's coloring book. I hope I picked the right shades. Choices.
That's good.
It's all about your choices that you make, folks. That determines who you are, what you are, and what's left behind.
And you're actually.
Are the choices you make.
And you're making choices all day long.
Every day, all day.
Like, for instance, I usually choose to get up. And sometimes I wish I could choose a different thing, but I just somehow cannot allow myself not to get up and get dressed and get into the day.
And you look at the wife of the mother of Elon Musk, who's on these commercials for Maybelline at 75 years old, and she says, you know, some people say there's an age where you just don't care anymore. I wonder what that age is.
Yeah.
And she's walking beautifully across Manhattan Boulevard or something, downtown New York.
Are we supposed to say goodbye?
We're supposed to say goodbye. Thanks, folks. We love you. We'll see you next time.